Good afternoon. How are you all doing today? Did you spot the deliberate mistake just then? Yes, we had the workshop introduction instead of a Q&A. But don't worry, it is a Q&A today. My fault, obviously, as the man who's in touch and in contact with all the buttons. So how's everyone today? Happy New Year to you all. Hope you can all hear, and the lovely Louise as well.
Can you hear me?
Oh, are you flashing again, Louise?
No, surely not.
Yes, you're flashing. Oh, why do you keep on flashing every week? Let's unplug you a minute. Let's plug you back in. Plug you back in. There. Let me come round to this side. Have you stopped? Have you stopped?
Yes.
Good. I have to invest in some new leads. So, good afternoon. Happy New Year, as I just said. Hope everyone is doing really...
Crackly noise.
Crackly?
Oh, I've not turned my...
You want you to turn your mic?
Battery.
You go, oh, Louise. What do you like? This is what happens when we're away. The gremlins come in.
Mrs. Lloyd has been messing with us again.
There we go. I was working when I just checked. So, sincere apologies. There's Louise now.
Okay, am I still crackling? Am I all right?
You can hear Louise now, I do hope.
Loud and clear.
Good, good, good. Everyone's okay. So, yes.
The sound's crackling intermittently. It's okay now. Is it stopped now? Oh, buzzing sound. Are we still buzzing and crackling?
Are we buzzing and crackling?
Sound is better. Good.
That's
okay.
all right then. Yes, Louise's batteries run out.
I bet you wish you could take my batteries out.
Well, no comment. Yeah, good. Everyone's doing well. That light seems to be a lot brighter than what it usually is, or is it just my eyes?
It's probably just...
We're just not used to this.
I think it's the box around it is directing it straight at your face.
The flaps up. Hang on a second.
Flaps up,
Sorry,
yeah.
guys, about this. Hope that you all had a good Christmas. Let us know if Father Christmas was good to you and brought you...
Oh, that was my water. That sounded like a... Didn't it?
That sounded like a bottle of champagne. Oh, I'm good old water. Let us know if Father Christmas... Spitting again. Has brought you... Louise, you are on camera. Brought you any jewellery goodies, and let us know how Christmas went for you. We'd like to know. Just pop it down in the chat. Louise will have fun looking through that. What have we got in store today, Louise?
Q&A. I think.
Yes. Anything else?
Yes, I've got some pictures to show you.
There we go.
If that's what you're trying to get at.
That's what I was getting to.
Okay. Yeah.
Good, and we'll have them a bit later. Do we have one lot, two lots? How many should we have?
3 today.
3 lots.
I've got 3 today.
Okay, so we'll give it 5 minutes and we'll have a first one then, shall we?
Okay.
Yes, Andrew, we shall.
Yes,
good,
yes.
Wonderful.
Oh, we've been back a week, haven't we?
We have been back
just under a week.
Yeah, we came back on Tuesday, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you want to come back?
Yes, I never not want to go back. There's always that feeling of, oh, I'm not going to be able to stuff my face every time I pass the fridge, and I'm not going to be able to lie in bed until I want to... But the funny thing is, when over Christmas, we were up at like 6:30 anyway.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, regardless of...
New Year's Day, we were up at 7 o'clock, walking on the mountain at 7 o'clock, waiting for the sunrise that didn't appear until an hour later.
But the cows did, and we were in the dark, because we were so early for the sunrise. We got there at like 7:30. because you said the sun started coming up at 20 past.
Yes.
So we stood in the field, soaking wet trainers.
In the pitch black, you're on a mountain.
Well, it was just getting light, wasn't it, on the horizon? And on the horizon, we saw something moving, and then we heard...
and then you saw the cows.
Went, oh my God. And I don't know, perhaps it was just the fact it was so early, and it was a bit eerie because it was like still dark, and I said, oh my God, they trample people, and they
kill people, they charge them.
They have been known to, and I know that sounds a tad dramatic, and Lord knows I'm not too dramatic, but yeah. So you ran. You stumbled, you ran so fast.
My knee gave way. I don't know how or why that happened. My knee gave way and I did stumble. But we got away safely, as you most probably can see. We're fine. No cows attacked us.
50 tell the tale.
We did, yeah. And I was about the highlight of our holiday. But it was nice to come back. It's always nice to come back into a routine. It's always nice to come back, and I do love what we do. But it's always nice to have time off as well to do the things that you really want to do. And we sat down, we had 2 days at home, we just sat down, we read, we ate, we just lie on the sofas, didn't we? And that was really nice, and I really enjoyed that.
December but we were busy. December was really busy in the shop.
December was manic.
And it made me realise how lucky we are to have the people that we've got here.
Yes.
Who just absolutely worked their socks off. And
yes. We have a
2 o'clock Christmas Eve, I think you could have stayed open because people were still coming in, and we kind of said, everybody's had enough.
Yeah.
They can't take any more, and they've just literally been run ragged. I thought it was just...
It's time to close, wasn't it, really?
People wanted to go home.
Yeah, it was
so
good.
So we shut the shop.
Good. It was lovely. It was a lovely time. Everyone had a great time, I think. Good. Anything else to say before tomorrow I'm going to battery save mode? No, I don't.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, should we start?
Yes.
Okay. It is Monday, the 9th of January 2023. Good afternoon and welcome to the Monday's Q&A. So Louise, do we have our first question, please?
We do. It's from another Louise who is saying, is there a definitive list available for the time required for each job is supposed to take?
Actually, it is a good, interesting question, but it is so variable based upon your knowledge, your skills, your experience, the time spent at the bench. I
have some advice. Get yourself a time tracker. The jeweler's time tracker. Is that what you were going to say?
No, it wasn't. But you can. We got a few copies left. I have many left, actually.
Yeah. Or if you don't want to use the time tracker, I mean, it is great, and it's designed for tracking the time that you spend at the bench and what you're doing. And it's really handy because you've got that record then to look over, and you might notice that you're getting quicker at things, you might notice that you're getting slower at things, you might notice gaps in your skill sets, which you need to work on. But most importantly, it will help you track your...
Yes, and this is what I've always said.
But you can just do that in a diary, can't you? You know, or you could set it up in a way...
The thing is to have like a spreadsheet.
Just a log, even if you're just writing it down. Yeah, computerised is better, isn't it? Because you can produce your reports easier.
Yes. The way I look at it is that when you come to price up, say, doing repairs, you have the old like stopwatch. Stopwatch on your bench, but now you've got your phone. You can put your phone by the side. You have a repair.
Do you really want to work to literally like the seconds?
No, but you have to know how much to charge. So you have to know how long things...
It's remembering to turn it off, though.
It is going back to the whole thing about how much to charge for work. There is no set time limit to do a particular job. So what I would do, if you want to go through this, and it's interesting to do a little bit of exercise, perhaps once every year, something like that, doing the same tasks to see if you're faster, see if you're slower, is to put your phone on your bench, put it on stopwatch, put it by the side. Okay, here we go. We're going to bezel set a stone. How are you going to start it? Okay, so the bezel's been made. We're going to bezel set it. Start it. Finish that. Press stop. How long has it taken you to bezel set? How long has it taken you to cut the wall on it? How long has it taken you to make a ring? So all these things can go within, say, a spreadsheet, or if you're doing repairs, how long does it take you to solder a chain? You would do it from the moment that you take the packet up in your hand to actually putting the packet away. So that includes ultrasonicing and polishing and all that sort of thing. But don't forget, if you do keep a track of your time, don't say you have an ultrasonic, okay? I'll say you have an ultrasonic, but what I wouldn't do is pick up the job, put it in the ultrasonic's running, and you sit down. And you just waste time. It would be the only time, then you could do things within that time. So make sure that you do time yourself efficiently. And then you would make a list. That list is going to be particular to you. It's not going to be for the person sat next to you if you're within a workshop, or the person at the north of England, south of England, because everyone works to a different pace. And I think that is the important thing to remember, because sizing, I can do some sizing jobs, excellent. No problem at all. It'll all go swimmingly from the start to finish, and you do the next job and something will happen. Like today, we had to put a piece in an 18 carat white gold ring, 2 sizes bigger. Sounds really easy, doesn't it? You get a bit of 18 carat, get ready. Okay, let's just heat up the back of the shank to see if there's a solder joint in it. Heat it up. What happens? There was a solder joint. There was 2 solder joints. There was a piece in it. It went bing. It went flying in the air. Oh, brilliant. So now you've got to put not only the 2 sizings that you've got to put in, but you've got to extend that piece of metal to cover 4 sizings. There's all these things that happen. So it's only going to be an average.
And also, where are you in the market or the industry? Are you making enough to cover your costs and then a bit more, or are you reliant on it to pay your bills and your mortgage? Because everyone's objectives are different, aren't they? So
yes.
This is where the pricing workshop was really good.
Yes.
Because we kind of covered the from a hobbyist point of view who wants to cover costs and make a bit of money into, it's like my dad, isn't it? He paints prolifically and he's an excellent watercolour and oil paint and pastel actually, and he doesn't charge enough for his work, and everyone tells him that, but he just wants to make enough to, he's retired, so it's,
keeps him busy.
So yeah, but he's in a fortunate position where he just makes enough to keep him in paints and the stuff he wants.
Yeah,
and that's what he does, he could make
a lot more money,
but he just doesn't.
And gives a lot to charity as well.
He does give a lot. In fact, Ron Cox Art, he's on Facebook if you want to have a look at him. But yeah, but anyway, we're going off the point now. But yeah, it depends on what you do with Louise, doesn't it?
Yes, and again, yeah, it depends on how much you're going to be charging and how long it takes you to do a particular job, and whether you can cheat by having pre-made bezels, for instance, opposed to having to make them up. So, in answer to the question, no, there is no definitive time. But it'd be interesting to sort of put out, wouldn't it? We
were going to do another. In fact, I'm going to.
We
had a couple of surveys, didn't we? We were going to look at what people
charge,
and anonymous, what people pay themselves. So if they want to participate, and how much, what they, just out of interest, just people can see.
Yes, and there's always going to be people out there by saying, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I can do that. I can do that in half the time." Great, if you can, so what? Doesn't matter. So it's entirely up to you. But Louise, make sure that you sort of make a note whether it's in the time tracker. I think Louise is going to put it in the chat, or just get a spreadsheet and make a note in a notebook, keep it by the side of your bench, and go back to it every now and again to see if your time has got better.
And don't forget as well, you know, we can all of us try and be faster and more efficient, but if that makes you more miserable and hate what you're doing, is it worth being faster?
Exactly. And also perhaps you maybe sat down, you may have a bit more of a relaxed morning, a bit chilled out, working to a podcast you're listening to. Or perhaps you're listening to Audible, or perhaps listening to some relaxing music as opposed to energetic music, and you calm down. Perhaps you're stressed and you're working fast. It's completely variable.
Can vary wildly and wildly.
Exactly. So everyone, perhaps Louise can get the link for this as well. Don't forget, we released our first podcast on the 31st of December. And it was a simple little podcast. We're not going to do one like every single week, because that would be even too much work for us. They're going to be around about every month or so, aren't they, really? They're not going to be a regular sort of... They are going to be regular, but not a definitive...
It was a bit of an off-the-cuff, because we've been thinking about doing it for a little while, but we don't want to commit ourselves to a regular slot, do we?
No.
So it was pretty much... We have these discussions, and sometimes we think this might be interesting. And
maybe somebody out there wants to listen to what we're actually saying.
But we were thinking about having like a New Year business meeting for the shop, and a little bit of a strategic plan, and we thought it might be handy to record that.
We got
so
some
that
ideas,
might be the next
because
thing.
we're not perfect in any way. We don't always get it right, But if we get it wrong, we try and learn from our mistakes and try and work out what we have done wrong. So well, we've been in this trade now for like 35 years, and we know a thing or two, and I think we could offer some advice, but we don't get it right every single time.
Well, yeah, like our event.
And I
event
think,
evening.
like our event evening, but that'll be in a podcast coming
Yeah.
very, very soon. So Louise,
It went. But we know
rubbish.
what to do. Yeah. Anyway, should we have another question?
Another question.
Sandra's saying, I may have asked this before, but since I haven't bought one, I forget the answer. Will an ultrasonic clean off tarnish or just grime and polish, etc.?
No, it will not take tarnish off at all. Your best bet would be to get a tin of Talk of the Town Talk, isn't it? And use a silver dip for that. An ultrasonic will simply agitate. It agitates the dirt, agitates the muck, the grime, the dead skin, the oils that come up from the skin, the perfume, the polish. It'll only get rid of actual physical particles of an item that you put in. It will not take tarnish off. I don't like the fact where people put bicarbonate of soda and a piece of silver in the bottom. It ruins the piece that you do put in over a long period of time. So please don't do that. But a tin of Talktown, a jar of Talktown to get the the tarnish off is exactly what you need. But an ultrasonic is brilliant. Don't buy the cheap little ones like in 20, 30 quid from Aldi or Lidl. They're rubbish, they don't do anything at all. Buy yourself a decent brand from the major tool suppliers. They are going to be the best offerings for you. Did you put the time tracker?
I did.
You did? Mm-hmm. Excellent, thank you. And don't forget, get a link to the podcast as well.
Well, there's 3 different links, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, so I will when I get a second.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Should we have another question, please?
Yes. Anyone know how long this may go on, and will it be recorded going out? Yes. Hi, Dylan. It goes on until around about 5 o'clock usually, and you can watch it straight away. You can watch it back.
On Q&As.
Yes.
Yeah, watch it live. You can fast forward. You can rewind. You can't fast forward because it's going to be live, and that's cheating then. But yeah, sorry. Let's go another one, Louise.
Okay. Okay, lots of chat. Okay, Airbrush Apocalypse is saying, if I sand cast a piece of 999 silver is tested at say 998, would the assay office hallmark at a lower fineness like Britannia?
Yes, it would. It usually will ask you first of all to say that your piece has failed what you say it is, and they will give you an option to hallmark it at 950. Yes. 950. Yeah, 950, isn't it? Yeah, 950. Yeah, they do give a. But why has it failed? You've got to think yourself that. And that piece is virtually pure silver. So what are you going to be charging at? Are you going to be charging it at pure silver price, or are you going to be charging it at Britannia silver price? If you're charging it at Britannia silver price, you've done yourself out of a few quid, a few pounds, because you've got virtually pure silver in there. So it's something to think about. Why has it failed? And perhaps look to see why it's failed. Perhaps you can add 1 or 2 extra little granules of pure silver to try and bring it up for next time. Yes, Lou.
Good. Susan has some dino bone.
Dino bones.
Wow.
Excellent. We could have got some of that yesterday.
Well, we couldn't. We weren't allowed near them, but we saw some.
It's true.
David had lots of lovely new toys, including a bangle mangle.
Mangle.
A bangle mangle, according to the giver. Oh, bless. BH, Christmas was good. Got a Durston C130 and a ring bender.
Nice.
Ooh.
Someone's been
Fab.
good.
Someone was a good person. Okay, let's see. Beth's had a new computer installed. Great. Oh, cool. Clay had cash from my fam and put it towards a little rolling mill. A C100 Mini, can't wait to use it. Oh, been ill with flu, recovering from an allergic reaction. Oh, bless you. John is saying, why do you never see turquoise and gold together? It's always with silver. I saw turquoise with gold yesterday.
You did. I don't know.
One of those.
It's just the manufacturers and what the market.
Is it the quality of? Is it because commercially there's more lower quality turquoise available than good quality turquoise? Maybe I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just asking you the question. And obviously...
I really don't know. I don't know why that would be the case.
Because historically it's been used with gold, isn't it?
As well, yeah. I suppose there's more silver involved in it because of like, the North Indians, Navajo, I don't know, what do you want to call them? Don't know.
No, can anybody answer? We've got lots of turquoise.
I suppose it bumps the price up an awful lot, doesn't it? If you use gold,
is there
more
lower grade turquoise kicking around that they put into silver, or
maybe? Perhaps people don't want gold and turquoise. It looks, the blue and the white look nice and crisp, and they don't want it in gold.
I like it in gold, especially with diamond. I think it looks.
Perhaps the gold is too hard, and there's a chance of cracking the turquoise.
Oh, Kevin's answered it.
Okay.
Can you save me trolling all through the chat, Kevin? Can you just pop it in again if it's not too much to type out?
Excellent. Okay.
Because I'd love to know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, Louise.
Another question?
Sorry, yes, Louise, yes. Just trying to find the answer to what you asked.
Okay. Oh, Kevin, I found it. Sorry, Kevin, yeah. Gold makes turquoise flat in our native works. Gold makes turquoise flat in our native works. We also didn't use gold as Europeans did. Silver was more decorative and ceremonial. Gold was, well, just gold. Natives didn't have a gold value. Oh, wow.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, that's cool. Excellent. Okay, thank you. How do you select the correct size of cup burr?
Okay, it really depends on how much of a bald end you want. So ideally, if you had your wire, should have asked Father Christmas for some new pens, shouldn't I really? So there's your wire, okay, sticking out, and it is whatever. So your cup burr, if this wire is 1 millimeter from there to there, you ideally could have a 1 millimeter cup burr, but that burr is going to be exactly to the edge of the wire. Okay, so there's your burr, and there's like that, okay? So I would not have a 1 millimeter to match a 1 millimeter. Because then there's a chance that these edges are going to cut in as it goes down. So I would always try and err on slightly larger. So if that's 1 millimeter, perhaps get something like a 1.2, and that'll give you a little bit of a gap now, won't it, here? That is better because it allows that cup burr to sit central onto the wire. So what I would do is, usually, if you're just rounding the edges off, get the cup burr in your fingers and put the cup burr over and just rotate it a couple of times. Or if you have the wire and the cup burr here, you start the cup burr spinning, and by the time you come down on top of the wire, if the cup burr is 1 mil and the wire's 1 mil, there's no way that that cup burr is going to land directly on top of that wire. But if it's 1.2 millimeters, you've got a good chance of coming directly down on top and then burring off the edges and making it into a bald end. So that would be the way that I would choose a cup burr. So go about 1/5 of a millimeter bigger, or if you're not even worried about getting a nice hemispherical end to it and just want a slight curve like this, you could go for something that is perhaps 1.5, and that's 1 mil. If you wanted to, if you weren't fussed, but that's the best way to do it. You popping that champagne again. So that's what I would do. Never go for the same size burr as the same size wire. Just go slightly larger. Louise, let's have another question, please, my dear.
Good. Kevin is saying, how do I go about pricing jewellery, a basic silver or gold band, all the way to, say, basic silver or gold bangles? Prices online are all over. Is there a median? This is just the $1 million question, isn't it?
How much do you charge?
We did about a 6-hour extravaganza on this, didn't we? But it depends on if you're making jewellery for from like a home-based setup, I would say. Well, not necessarily as a hobby, but if you don't have the overheads of a commercial premises, I think you'd need to start with part 1 anyway, wouldn't you, on the workshop?
Yes.
But if you have commercial premises and your overheads get a bit more complicated, you could probably benefit from progressing on to part 2 as well. But yeah, there was a lot of information in that, wasn't there? But
so was Kevin a member?
Kevin, yeah, are you a member, Kevin? If you're not a member, you can purchase the workshop anyway, can't you?
Yes.
But there's no quick answer to that, really, is there? No, unfortunately.
It depends on your overheads. It depends on how much you're paying yourself. There's so much to go through. Impossible to do it now, but we have released 2 workshops back in August, September time.
Yeah.
Yeah. One was basically like a home-based.
In my living room office. Well, I would advise you to have a look at the workshop then, part 1 of the workshop. And because if you don't have commercial premises, you don't really need to go to worry about the second part, but it's about 2.5 hours, I think, wasn't it? And basically we take you through everything you need to think about, really.
Exactly, and produce a spreadsheet as well to help you work out your prices. So check out that workshop, part 1, which is like a home-based workshop, home-based business. Yes,
because we go through things like your consumables, how you factor that in, how you factor in your time. Yeah, so it's quite in-depth.
Yes, check it out, you'll learn a lot.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think it's 15, was it 15?
£15?
Yeah, but free if you're an At the Bench
member. But don't be put off by what you see like on Etsy or any of those sort of marketplaces, because a lot of people will buy them in from the Far East, or buy them in from abroad, and perhaps they may even not be silver.
People like the term handmade, don't they? And it's used a lot when...
Yes.
Sometimes people fib, don't they? And
they do. A lot of times on Etsy they say it's all handmade,
so
when it's not.
if it looks too cheap to be
handmade,
handmade,
it doesn't have to be on Etsy.
It might
We've
not
seen
be.
lots of websites saying it's antique and it's not.
Oh gosh, yeah, that drives me mad.
It's where it's handmade,
vintage
it's
antique,
not.
And it's not. It's
Exactly.
Yeah.
So go and check out the workshop.
Okay.
Absolutely. Some of the. Time for some photographs.
Would you like some photographs?
We would love some photographs, please.
Let me see where to start. I'm going to start with Horatia. I've been chatting to Horatia this week, and she not yet. Okay.
No, I'm not quite sure what happened then.
Okay, what did you? Okay.
I don't know what I did.
Right. Dylan's having the same issue knowing what to charge.
Check out the workshops.
Perhaps we can do a
definitely.
Yeah, podcast. I don't know, but this is we could do a podcast on it maybe and
talk about it and direct people to the workshops.
Yeah, it'd be good to talk about it to get people into the ideas of what to think about without having to go through the whole mathematics of the spreadsheet and just the skeleton of it, and then people can fill in the blank. I don't know, just thinking out loud now.
Yes.
Good. Where am I going?
Picture.
Horatia, let me see if I can get the information. This is where this computer decides to go slow. Right, so Horatia's little dog, Charlie, passed away in October.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, so Horatia made, and I've never seen anything like this before, a little pendant.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, from his gorgeously cute little nose.
Oh, that's cute.
I haven't showed you this, have I yet?
No.
So, let me see if I had some more information. This is jumping all over the place, sorry. So that is, so no smithing was needed. You used a 2-part moulding compound, pressed it into his nose as quickly as possible, no more than a second. When it cured, she made the pendant with silver clay and fired it in the kiln. Look, that's Charlie. Look how gorgeous he is. Fired it in the kiln. Very easy. Best to have a docile dog who isn't going to mind. In the picture, there's a smaller mould which is of Bertie. Let me find Bertie's picture. So the smaller mould is Bertie. This one is Charlie here. Bertie needed more treats to bribe him first. Yeah, the only thing I changed is the bail as it tends to flip. Weight is 18 grams, which is nice and comforting, and she wears it all the time.
Lovely.
How lush.
That is good.
Yeah.
Oh, bless. That is lovely.
I know, isn't it gorgeous? So
Yes.
there he is, yeah, and he was 12, which is a good age for a Cavalier. But as she says, obviously still devastating. But he's what a sweet thing. And
That's lovely.
Yeah, and I just love that pendant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. Lovely.
Cool.
Thank you
Right,
very
are we off? Shall I show you while I've got my
Please do.
I've got Davidica sent me some photos as well. Let me just find the text. So, I think you gave Davidica some advice
In the Q&As.
on the Q&A. So, let me just. That is what Davidica has made. Yeah. Not quite flush set in the end, sort of flush set in a jump ring.
Good.
I made the jump ring into a rounded triangle by filing 3 spots on the interior and squeezing it slightly to make it turn into a triangle. It's a Moldavite stone. No, that's the next picture. That looks like Moldavite as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The ring is for the son of a friend who wanted it for his 21st birthday / Christmas present. Oh, yes, so yeah, that is that. I just really love. You can't really see the texture on the photo, but there's kind of like a leaf texture.
Lovely.
But let me see if I can get. Can you just jump off that for 1 second?
Yeah, okay.
Let me just see if I can get a better picture, because it doesn't show.
Okay.
It doesn't show the.
Yeah.
1 sec.
Okay.
Ah, there we are. Perfect.
Maybe.
Yeah. Show that one.
There we go.
Yeah, I really love the fact that the bezel is textured as well.
Yes, that's right.
And the side here, the edge.
Outside edge. Lovely.
Yeah. The detail is just absolutely stunning.
A lot of people forget the edge.
Yeah.
I forget the edge, actually, if I'm doing textures like that.
But I love how the texture here just really, really complements the stone. The texture on the stone, doesn't it?
It's very good.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. Good job.
So, yeah, just come off that one moment.
Good job. Yeah.
Because I think the pictures that I saved it are not very clear, so I'm just going to open this one. So this is the pendant.
Okay.
So it's Moldavite and Herkimer diamond, which is a variety of quartz.
Yes.
How gorgeous.
Nice one. I like that.
Lovely. Thank you for sending these in. They're
Very
gorgeous.
good. Thank you very much. Good to see. Good to see. Love it.
Good. And I've got one more, but I'll wait till the end to show you, pals.
No worries. Excellent.
Cool.
Should we have another?
Yes, let's.
Question.
Is that a moss agate stone? No, it's Moldavite. Okay.
We saw some excellent stones. We were in the Natural History Museum yesterday, weren't we, in London?
Yes.
We went to the minerals part, and they got hundreds of cases. And I was amazed at how many types of stones, gemstones, that there are. And it had virtually every, obviously they must have not about every single type, but they had all these, obviously, like Spartine or whatever their names are. I can't even think, to be honest, Louise, of today. Just all different types of feldspar, and it had all sorts of whatever. Anyway, there was one.
Apophyllite.
There was a apophyllite. No, there was loads of, but there was one mineral that took my eye. Well, in fact, it was the name, and it was a McDonaldite.
Feeling hungry, were you?
It was a McDonaldite. And if you don't believe me, go to the British Museum, go down to the centre, it's about 3/4 of the way down the left-hand side, McDonaldite. I thought, come on, anything now, isn't it? Obviously, you've got Morganite, but this was McDonaldite. Anyway, let's have another question.
You're just jealous that there's no Andrew Berryite.
Vincite. So I have to try and find something in my garden.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big much a bit of fossilised cap or something like that, like
well, the Berryite, there we are. Can you please give...
Bunnyite.
Do you want a question?
Yeah, sorry, yes, I have a question.
I'm talking about cat poo. Can you please give me some advice? Sorry, Marilyn. Can you please give me some advice on setting raw gems that are unusually shaped? I've been making prong settings and wire settings, but I'm having trouble getting the prongs tight around the stone.
Yeah, I think prong and claw setting is going to be your best bet for this, as opposed to bezels, because as you say, the edges can be really uneven. So the only way this is the really difficult thing, because it depends upon how tough your gemstone is. I'm not going to go through toughness with you again with these.
You've cracked that now, though.
I can't remember again.
I mean the idea, not the stone.
Remember now.
Yes, you can.
So say you've got a bit of rough gemstone like this, okay? And you want to set it upon a ring that is like this down here, and you want to have claws coming up. The problem is you have to get the claws around far enough to hold the stone in place. And as you say, you're having problems. So what I would do initially would be to say you're looking down on top of the ring. Okay, so there's the ring shank here. Can you just about see that? Yeah. And then you have, say for argument's sake, you have the claws, and you have, say, 6 claws, but spaced a little bit uneven. What I would do is you always got to put the gemstone, the crystal, whatever it is, back in the same place every single time. So I would then get my bit of gemstone, and then with a water-soluble pen would be to mark it. So perhaps I'd put a mark by here, and that would be my top right-hand claw. So then I would take my gemstone and put that, so that mark is where that mark is, and then work out where you're going to start to bend the claws. Bend one up, put this stone back into place. Does it fit? So here's your stone here, here's your little mark, and you're bending the stones up to bend the claws up to try and fit. Do it bit at a time. Do that claw, bend that claw upwards. Come over here, bend this claw upwards, put the stone into place. Check it. So you're constantly keeping the stone in the correct orientation every single time. And if you happen to obviously lose that mark and have the stone somewhere else, none of the claws are going to fit the exact proportions of the stone. And this applies to any type of stone that you're doing. If you simply got a round stone and you're putting it within a round bezel and you're cutting away the bezel wall, always make sure that you mark the bezel and mark the stone, so the stone always goes in the same position every single time, because guaranteed the stones are never round. But that is the way I would do that, and put the stone in, bend the claw. Now the problem that you've got is when the claw comes round here, how do you get that claw tight so it's not going to catch? You could easily do it by having the claw a little bit longer than what you need, and have it coming down onto the stone like that, and pushing down with the pusher in that direction there to bring it down. I would perhaps make the top of the claw a little bit thinner than the rest of the claw itself, because that will help that little bit of metal to come down tighter. And if you do have it shorter, I would then perhaps get something like a hammer handpiece or a little punch and a hammer just to tap this down. And this is going to bend a little bit easier than what the rest of the claw will, because it's a lot thinner. If you're trying to come along with quite a 90-degree edge, make a little bit of a cut with a burr here, so the claw will come over to the stone. That is the way I would guarantee that would be. And if you put a little cut in here, it's only going to be like a saw cut or a little bit 90-degree setting burr into that claw. When you do push down, it is obviously going to bend at that point there and bend nice and tight onto the stone. Depends on what stone it is, how hard, how tough is it. But that would be the way that I would do that. But it is really, really awkward getting these claws, because they've got to be thick enough to be able to bend, but they can't be too thick that it looks completely out of place. But that is the way that I would do it. Louise, let's have another question.
Good. Oh, Helena said, thank you for the podcast. It nudged me into starting a project which I have had set up for 3 months. Confidence restored. Oh, yay. Oh, that's fab. Thank
Good.
you.
So, yes, so our podcast is called Talks, TALKS, at the bench. Just search for that. It's available on Deezer, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, There's 8, I think, we put them on, but you can just go and search for them. But yeah, it says talks at the bench, just Louise and I talking away. But it is full of interest. Some funny little clips.
Though.
Pardon?
We're not at the bench, though.
No, we're not. I'll have a glass of wine. Some other question, please.
Yeah. What was the name of the tarnish remover you mentioned? Town Talk.
Town Talk.
Town Talk.
Yes.
Okay. John Wheeler, this is my first time.
Hello,
welcome.
John.
Hi. Good. Okay. Duncan, what would be the best way to start making jewellery again after a number of years away? 26 years-ish. I did an apprenticeship in the Birmingham Jewellery Quarter when I was younger. What's the best way to start making jewellery again?
Come back again. Just revisit all your techniques. Just go over. I wouldn't jump into straight away into making jewellery. I would just go over things like your piercing, like your soldering, like your shaping, you're making up rings. Everything is still going to be the same. It's going to be like riding a bicycle, as they always say. You don't forget. As soon as you start to get into it, you will then remember. Borax hasn't changed. Solder hasn't changed. You may find that torches are a little bit lighter if you use these sort of torches and so forth. But yeah, go over the basics. Get your piercing, get your sawing, get your ring making, your jumping making, whatever you want to do. Go through those. Get your hand back into it, and once you feel confident enough, then just perhaps make up a couple of, say, wedding bands, texture them, make some bezels, set some stones, whatever. But that is the way I would do it. Start afresh, as if you're a beginner, but you'll find you'll soon pick things back up really, really quickly.
It's going to just be kind of whipping through the stuff you already know, isn't it, and practicing again, I guess. Yes. Yeah.
Totally.
But you'll be back there in no time, I'm sure.
Totally. Oh, I think you will. Yes.
Yeah.
Question.
Good. Louise got a couple of draw blades, tongs and wax carving tools, all from At the Bench for Christmas. Yay!
Nice.
Thank you for the speedy delivery. I really enjoyed the podcast.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I was really nervous about releasing the podcast because we were talking quite personally, weren't we?
Yes, it is. It is it can be a very personal thing, can't it?
Because I think it's easier to talk. It's easier to talk personally when a camera's not on you, because we're just on our own, aren't we? We're not, but we're not on our own now, are we? We're physically on our own, but I don't feel like we're on our own.
No, exactly.
But yeah, we're just recording it, and yeah.
We just had a bit of a laugh, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did have a laugh.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. So yeah, we were talking about New Year's resolutions
and
changes and self-limiting beliefs.
That's where you lost me. That was.
Really? No, it's fascinating when you get into it. I'd like to get Mary on to have a chat with us on other podcasts.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be good, talking about things like that, because we just touched on it, didn't we, and talked about intentions, but yeah, she could go into a lot more detail. So that might be good.
Okay.
Stuart's saying, is there any benefit in using a higher grit buff stick, e.g. 1200, 2000, before using Tripoli or another pre-polishing compound?
I was actually using 1200 today, but that was purely to go over some platinum that I was doing. Now, I am really lazy, and I'll always say I'm lazy. Again, buff sticks, I always have 600 grit. There are people who will just do that. There are other people, Lee who works with us, he's got a variety of buff sticks and he will go through them as well. I do like to work fast, I do like to work quick. And as a result of that, I don't have time to go through all the grades of emery paper. So I don't. I literally have 600 grit on my buff sticks, and that is all I have, because once you've used the one side of your buff stick, you've worn it, it's not 600 grit, but you rip off one side, so one side 600 grit because it's fresh, the other one is slightly worn. So that's what I would do. I would then come along with a 600 grit, do what you have to do, turn over the buff stick and use the other side that has less of a grit, less of a bite to it. I don't have many buff sticks at all. Perhaps I would have another buff stick like that on my bench, but it's still got 600 grit in various stages of wear. So I don't go through separate grades. I just go through perhaps one or two buff sticks with different worn pieces of emery paper on it. But there are people who like to go through it. It does work because then when you come to polish, you can polish really, really quickly. but you spent all the time going through the various grades. So I would like to just finish off with that buff stick, get in that polishing room, polishing motor, get and polish it, done, dust it, in the ultrasonic, come back, get on with more work, whilst the person is still going through all the different grades of emery paper. So that is my understanding. If you're doing platinum work, anything like that, or you don't want to be dragging out the solder, if you use solder when it comes to platinum, you then would definitely have to go through all the different grits of emery paper. Otherwise, when you come to polish, you could then got to polish, especially with platinum, quite aggressively. And because if you used solder as opposed to welding the joint, the mops will drag out the solder and you'll see grooves where that solder has been, because the solder is softer than the parent metal. But if you go through all the various grades of emery paper, right down to say perhaps 2000, you've taken out nearly all the scratches and you don't have to do an awful lot of work on the polishing motor and it won't drag out the solder. So those are the benefits. Louise, Madeira, question?
Yeah. First thing, can you tell me when and how to use a cup burr?
If you want to round off the ends of your ear wires, if you have posts attached to a plate that go through the ear, or anything that goes through the ear, like the shepherd's hook, anything like that, always round off the ends, make them nice and smooth. You could come along with a file and just file off the edges, then get a bit of buff stick, emery paper to go over the ends. It is a little bit more time consuming than if you come along simply with a cup burr just to go over the ends, really nice and quick. Also, it's also very handy when it comes to claws or prongs. If you have just cut the prongs and the stone is set, you can get the cup burr on the top to come down. Keep an eye on the where the cup burr is here. Here's your cup burr. Let's throw that one away, shall we? Let's stop using that one. So there's your cup burr here. And here is your claw sticking up by here. This claw then will be rounded. Be careful that the cup burr doesn't touch your gemstone here. Round off the ends of metal wire. That is the only reason when you'd really use a cup burr. I can't imagine any other use for a cup burr, to be honest, Louise.
Okay.
But that's what I would do. Ends of claws, ends of wires to go through the ear. Oh, that was the laptop one. There's a close-up one. I've lost you, Louise. There you go. You're there. So
Okay.
another question, please.
Julia is saying, another hallmarking question. Do you say the size of hallmarks when you send things off? I just got my first bangles back and the hallmarks are so tiny, need magnification to see them.
So, did you have them lasered or did you have them punched, stamped? That would be the thing. If you're going to have them lasered, I would always put down a size that you want them to be. If you've got your punches registered with the assay office, you usually have perhaps 1 or 2 punches and let them decide on which punch to use based upon the size of the area that they have to stamp. But if it's something like a bangle and you can get away with the bigger mark, have it something that is bigger if you're going to have it lasered, and have a deep etch.
They were laser hallmarks.
They were lasers.
Deep
relief. So definitely I would state a size on a bangle, because otherwise I would say the assay office would do perhaps the easiest type of job to get the job done quick.
I guess they'll just do this, whatever the standard is, the default, won't they?
Perhaps they would do, but if it's a bangle, definitely say at least 1 millimetre or perhaps 1.5 millimetres. That would be my recommendation. But on rings, 3/4 of a millimetre, we got our punches and they seem to be fine. Yes, Louise.
Okay.
But definitely state the size. And obviously then if they can't do that particular size, they would contact you. But state a size, don't leave it to them if that is what you're after. Yes.
Good. Donald would like to know, will you have some prepared crucibles in the shop soon, please?
Yeah, we've actually got a couple in the workshop that we have prepared, but we haven't put them on the website yet. So Louise, can you please make a quick note and say, can you put 2 prepared crucibles on the website, because they are ready and done. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Kevin says, I generally charge $1.60 per gram for silver flat rate. Is that bad?
Yes, I would say it is, because it depends upon what you've done to the piece and how much work you've done. So I think that's a very quick and easy way of working out a price, but it doesn't take into consideration your time that is taken to do whatever you've done to that piece. That'd be very mild. If you're making a ring with no stones in and it weighs 3 grams, you're going to be charging $4.80. Okay, easy compared to making a ring with the bezel and a bezel set stone that perhaps would weigh 1 gram more, and you're only charging $1.60 for perhaps a half an hour's work. So if you're just basing it upon things that you're just churning out, simple rings, simple bangles, perhaps yes. But when you get into consideration of the technique involved, bezel setting, flush setting, claw setting, texturing and so forth, that doesn't take that into account. So
you need to think about your intricacies and the time that it's taking you as well, and also your consumables.
Definitely, yes.
So
yes, a large bangle would take perhaps more to polish, more consumables.
Yeah.
So you could lower the price, but
so minimum you need to work out what you want to be paying yourself, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, and if you could make 2 rings in an hour, you out of that, and they weigh 3-4 grams, that's like $8. Is that enough to charge for an hour's work?
Again, it comes down to what your objective is. If you want to sell enough to keep you in materials and fund a hobby, that's different to
paying a mortgage.
Yeah, so
rent.
It does depend on where you're coming from, really. But at the very least, you need to make sure that obviously the materials are covered. Your time. I mean, but again, if it's a hobby, then
again,
but your materials, your consumables, and just things to keep you going with equipment and things, isn't it?
It is. But again, this is what comes down to like Louise said with the first question, Louise.
Yeah.
About how long does it take to do a particular job? So, say for instance, it takes you half an hour to bezel set a stone, and you're putting that upon a plain band. Well, then you know how long it's taken you to bezel set. You know how much that has cost you. And you can put together. So a ring, I'm only going to be charging $1.60 a gram, but I'm going to charge $15 because I've bezel set, and now you've got the price for the ring, $15 to bezel set, and you've got a price there. So I think it's a very quick way of pricing, but I don't think it's going to be accurate enough unless you're just putting out plain bands all the time.
Perhaps we'll do a little podcast on pricing.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Just to help out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more pictures?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Last lot of pictures, because 5 to 5.
Is it really?
It's crackerjack. So I'm showing my age now.
Okay. Pictures. Not yet.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's have a some photographs.
Do you remember? Yes. Do you remember Carl made some Christmas decorations and sent me some photos. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember?
Did Carl make the ring?
Yes.
Yes.
Carl, have a look.
Okay, look now.
You can have a look now,
yeah.
Let me just find the...
Oh, Christmas.
Carl made and I think Carl and his partner made them because I know where are we going? Yes, so these were made as Christmas gifts. What a lush idea! Yeah. We handmade for our friends, and we made a special one for ourselves. So look how gorgeous they are.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. That's really good.
So the friends ones are a 50mm copper sheet, hand pierced, filed, domed, hammered and polished and lacquered with copper and brass jump rings with a bronze clay centerpiece, handmade, formed and polished.
Look at that.
Look at them. Aren't they lovely?
That's amazing.
The bigger one is a 10mm copper outer, 75mm brass inner, and a 50mm copper inner all as above, soldered together and finished with a silver clay inner. So that's this one, I think. The hours it took was many, many evenings with wine, beer, gin, more gin and chocolate. Hope you like. I love them. Yes, and that sounds like my kind of evening. Gin, beer, wine and chocolate. Gorgeous. So yeah, I've got some lovely photos. If I can just
really good.
skip
I like
to yes. So this is how they started with the copper sheet. Hand-pierced copper sheet.
Yeah.
Textured.
Yeah. Nice. Soldering, dome in it.
Domed. Yeah.
Lacquering. Wow.
Yeah. So this is the silver clay inner.
Okay.
And they've got the date and different little motifs
that's cool.
here as well. I know, how gorgeous. And there they are. Handmade gifts for their friends. I just think that's such a lush idea. Yeah.
Because it's a gift that will be used every single year.
Yeah, and every year
they'll bring it out.
Their friends are going to think about what a lovely present.
I love it. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Carla, I think Laura. Is it Laura? I think it's Carla and Laura. Yeah.
Love it. Let's have one
well
last
done,
question.
guys. They're fabulous.
Well done. Let's have one more question.
Okay.
It's 5 o'clock. We gotta
Is it
go.
really 5 o'clock?
Gotta go.
Okay. Donald said, "How much should one pay for a good ultrasonic?"
You can pick up them on, say, Cookson for about 150, 180 pounds perhaps. It's not intended to be used all the time, because I did buy one. I bought one from Israel, and it was the ones I think that Cookson sell, and it burnt itself out within a matter of months. So it's only going to be, again, this is the thing, isn't it? How much do you want to spend? We've got an Elmer downstairs. It's about £500, £600. It's not as good as the Sonorex that I had for many, many years. Obviously, the more you spend, the more robust it's going to be, that's intended for continual use. You buy a cheap ultrasonic, an inexpensive ultrasonic, say for £100, £150, it's not intended to be left on all day or to be abused and have a lot of usage. But for the occasional use, a couple of times a week, 3 times a week, perhaps 4 times a week, for a few hours each day, I think they should be absolutely fine. So if you want to just do it that way, that would be the way to go. I think that the ones that on Cookson, as long as it's like a stainless steel tank, have one with a heater, because you've always got to try and heat up your solution. It cleans a lot better. Something like that. They do like the square 1 litres. I can't remember what price they are. Digital display, they always go wrong. If you can get a rotary control, they don't often go wrong. So yeah, check them out. One last question, Luke. That was nice and easy.
Did you happen to notice where in the world Matt Donaldite is from?
It's going to be off his farm.
Were you too busy sniggering?
It's going to be off his farm, I expect, isn't it?
Don't be so childish. It was a serious question.
I just bet it's like a bit of hamburger left there. Something
fossilized hamburger.
I just thought it may have been something like that looked like banding, that looked like a bun, cheese.
Well, I think that's very disrespectful to the scientist who found it, actually, Andrew. And I think as penance, you can research for me and Helena, so we can know next week where in the world it's from.
McDonaldite. Okay,
yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Throw another question.
Go on then. Yeah, I know it was a serious question, Helena. It's a good question, and he's just being very silly now. Sandra, how hard is human tooth compared to other stones? Oh, crikey. Yes, I think it was a 5. I did look it up. 5, yeah. I thought it might have been harder, yeah. Gosh. I know that, like, amalgam is, or was, when I was in dentistry, the best filling material because it was behaved more like tooth enamel. Apparently, that's what I was told anyway. But obviously mercury's not good for anybody. So
that's what an amalgam is it?
It's got mercury in it, okay. Oh, Sandra, oh no. We have cracked. Oh, get to the dentist and get it checked, I would. Let's see. Find another question. Oh, this McDonald is making me hungry. Okay, Heather is saying, been making some shadow boxes for setting pieces of Meteor. I text the base with sandpaper, throw roll mill. Sweat soldered the bezel and soldered to base. Not enough solder use. Can see join. Advice.
Resolder it.
Yeah.
Yeah, heat it up. Make sure that the piece is nice and clean. Perhaps put it in some warm acid to get everything off. Reapply flux to the joint. Add a little bit more solder to that, and it should solder okay then.
Do you know, I saw in the week, I saw a video on Dual Tool, and Annie was using a Dual Tool to disguise a solder joint, and it wasn't polishing it, it was actually burnishing the metal.
Okay.
And disguise the joint.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I was impressed by that. Yeah.
We've got to use our Dual Tool, haven't we?
I know. In fact, I've got a nice little garnet, which, yeah, I'm going to have a go at.
Okay, nice.
Okay, would you like another question?
Go on, one last question.
Okay, I'm just going to...
Oh,
McDonald's, you're all talking about McDonald's now. Ooh, do you get fries with it? Of course, yeah.
Fries out.
We've been having the McPlant, haven't we, lately?
We've been what?
Having them at McPlant.
McPlants.
Yeah.
Oh, they're very nice. Yes. I'll stop it now.
Had a lost an iolite and scrambled on the floor and found a tourmaline cap and a pink jade bead, but still no iolite. Hey. Okay. Yeah, Claire saying you also need to include the time you spend looking for gemstones on the floor. That's included in your pricing. Yeah. That's,
what I would suggest is that with an apron, always wear an apron. Yeah, as I always wear an apron, but get a bit of Velcro perhaps on the side here, and just turn that up on there, and on that side as well. So your apron now has a little bit of a lip at the bottom of it. So if you drop anything and you stand up, like turnips for your apron. And then your bits and pieces will always stay in there.
I just remembered May last week, a friend of mine came in with a box full of broken necklaces belonging to her mother, and they were mainly pearls and bits and pieces like that, and a dog ran into the corridor, literally barged into her, knocked, I don't know how, but knocked, I think she must have been holding his lead, and he ran off and knocked it out of her hand, and it was just...
Carly's beads and pills everywhere over the hall.
Skidding. Yeah, the dog's just like trying to eat them.
Right, should we leave it there? It's 5:05, shall we?
Okay, we better go and rescue Sharon, haven't we?
Yes. All right, everyone, thank you very much for coming today. It's been lovely coming back, lovely chatting with you. We've got one quick announcement. We have got our Hinges workshop next Monday. Don't forget, talks at the bench, okay? But yeah, we got a Hinges workshop. It's going to be next Monday. £15 for non-members, free if you're an At the Bench member. The social media and everything, the checkout's going to be done by Wednesday of this week. Emails are going to be going out on Wednesday as well. If you don't receive an email by Thursday, please do get in contact with Louise at andrewberry.co.uk, and we'll just sort that out for you. And if you want something to do of an evening, go and check out Talks at the Bench. It's our latest podcast, available on all your favourite podcast players. But everyone, thank you very much for coming on today. It's been lovely coming back, hasn't it, Louise?
It has, yeah. It's been great.
It's been nice.
Missed you all.
Yes, absolutely. And we've got lots of things planned this year. Thank you to everybody who's joined up over the Christmas period to At the Bench. Thank you very much for that.
Error.
We got an error, and there we go, we're back. Yeah, new website will be launched hopefully over the next couple of months. We're still working on that because obviously you're a small team and we have to do everything.
Small team of two?
not with the shop as well.
Oh,
but yeah, At the Bench is just massive. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. Keep an eye out on social media for the Hinges workshop this time next Monday. There will be no Q&A next Monday. It'll be Hinges. And we're looking forward to that, aren't we?
Yes.
We are.
Hinges and then
Clasps 2 weeks after that. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. It is goodbye from myself and also from Louise.
Goodbye.
We will see you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.